Hi, everyone, and hi, Ruth, and hi, Lewis. I am very excited to present two awesome leaders to you in a moment that are here with me and to invite you all to a magical half moon cruise. So, what am I talking about? This is a follow up to an online cruise I just did, the Wonder Cruise, for 5 days, which was super magical. I had 5 days of workshops and cruise entertainment, and we had intuitive readings, and both Ruth Levin and Louis Warnock were there as leaders and had a whole day where they created magic, and everybody on board in this experience really got some powerful nuggets and some powerful shifts for themselves. And as always, it's exactly what you need at that time that serves you. And so I got inspired to do another call, as another spotlight opportunity for both you guys here, and as an opportunity for all of you who missed the cruise to have a taste of the magic that we experienced, and for yourself to find some powerful, like, pause, actually, like going within, and then also powerful next action steps for your own business. That's what I'm all about helping change agents, soulpreneurs, visionaries, authors, healers, all of you people out there who really want to bring your heart calling to the planet in a business that fulfills you, and bring your magic to the planet. That's what I'm excited to help facilitate. I love bringing people together in amazing magical experiences, creating win-win-wins for all of you, and empower everybody to find just the right resources, just the right action steps, that you need. And then I always have a bunch of magic up my sleeve, whatever you guys need. So, so I will not go into my tools and what I do, but some revolve around brand magic, like all the things that I do. I love beauty and I have a design background. I also bring magic, intuitive coaching, and intuitive readings, and I will also bring part of that in this call here for you to experience. So let me introduce the magical leaders I have here with me. So I'm actually going to do a screen share, as a glimpse on the Wonder Cruise, where I have a beautiful introduction. So let me hit that button here. Hang on 1 second. So here's a share. So Lewis Warnock was one of the leaders, and as you see here on the cruise website, so she's a spiritual artist and medium and has drawn a lot of spirit guide portraits. And I actually have one of her paintings and a drawing from her from Merlin, which is super magical and helped me connect, to my spirit guide, and getting magical wisdom, and not thinking I have to do everything by myself, because we are supported from the other side. So Louis also does spirit guide coaching, and is just about to start a year program for especially business owners, right, Louis? Do you want to share in your own words who your ideal people are?
Sure. Who's my ideal people? Well, okay. I guess the question is, are you curious about the spirit guides and how they work and how they can work for your business?
Yeah.
And not just your business, but how does the other question to that is, how does your business align with your soul path? So
Mm-hmm.
are you kind of like, have you been fighting against things?
Right.
Um, feeling, feeling some resistance, or maybe not even resistance, but you feel like you don't have that momentum. That you have these wonderful ideas, you want to put them out, and then it stops.
Mm-hmm.
So, and perhaps that, you know, is that a sign of that's not what you should be putting out, or perhaps it's just a sign of maybe the alignment isn't there. The alignment for, I always believe in that divine timing. So I've had it happen where I have these being a visionary,
Hmm.
have these wonderful ideas, a gazillion, right? And I plan it, this and do that, and then nothing. So, oh, yeah. So, here we go. Um, why you sit there and go, why? Why is it not moving forward? Why aren't people coming to me? I've put it out to the universe. I've asked, even if you don't really have this direct relationship, you know that there's something bigger than you, and you can ask the universe or creator or whoever. And so then you put it aside, and then you move on to something else, and then you do that, and that you put that aside, and then all of a sudden, it could be a week later, months later, maybe even years later, that same idea and program, you bring it back, and boom, it's just going like wildfire. So then you look back and go, well, okay, so it wasn't the correct program, or it just wasn't aligned with the time. And the one thing that always comes through the guides is that it may not be about your timing, it may be about everybody else's timing. So maybe those people that are supposed to be in your program aren't actually aligned yet. So there's all these, and that information, all of this information comes from, through me, from the spirit realm, or the spirit guides. And what I have learned is that it's amazing, right? That, when you have that trust and knowing that you have this, I think in one of the other, things we talked about, having this board of directors, all these CEOs, they're all your spirit team, and not only are, maybe there's a group of them, a small group of them, but they have access to millions, right, of people or spirit guides that have specific knowledge and have actually done training on the other side, in the spirit realm per se, to bring forward to people. And so you can call on them. Do you need to know their name? Well, not really. Uh, there's lots of times when I know, before I really got into the actual spiritual psychic art, that I would just call upon my angels, or call upon, what I at that time, had a affinity to, Jesus or God, or and that's how I was, in terms of how I was raised. But I also felt that it was just something bigger than me, greater. And yeah, and it's amazing, but what's even more amazing is when you get to know your spirit guide.
Mm-hmm.
I think Astrid chatted about this
Yes.
um, previously, was when you get to know them and you can actually be much more specific and clear, everything becomes more specific and clear. And so, that's just a little bit about that information. But the spirit coaching mentorship is really, I don't define it in 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what you're going to do, because we know that spirit comes in and says, no, 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 this person needs this. We want her to experience this. We want her to know about this. We want her to expand her abilities and her what she's going to take out to the world. And we know what her lessons are, or her soul path. We know what her soul contract is. So we know that we're not going to tell her what it is, because that's not what it's about. It's about us for her to experience the journey. So the whole, what I realized in doing the drawings, where I would do a drawing and a reading in an hour and 15 minutes, and then they would go away with their drawing with some, quickie instructions on connecting, and they could come back, or they could phone, or whatever. But what I realized in the guides last year came through really strong, is that you need to develop something that will continue the process, because they actually said, it's not fair that we as the guides, or even you as the instructor, would expect that they can, like that, because we don't learn to play the piano,
Yeah, I love
right?
that you say that, Lewis. And that's actually what happened to me because I started my intuitive path like about 3 years ago or so, and before that I had none of that awareness at all, and I was
Mhm.
like super rational and actually scared of anything. Even the word psychic scared me. It was because I didn't know. But what happened for me, like once I started listening to my intuition and then had a first spirit guide experience and stuff, it was kind of intermittent, and then I kind of dropped it out of my system again and forgot the practice, and that what happened for me is I kind of, I only got so far because I kind of hit a ceiling a little bit, and then also I wasn't necessarily in alignment with like the fastest, easiest steps forward, and also like it's like you say, it's not even, or actually I want to add that it's not even about a particular religion or like believing this or that, but it's about knowing that we're not alone and there's something bigger out there, and connecting to that and to connecting to our true deepest most aligned wisdom, which comes from like is one of the ways that you help people access that. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to have you here
Yes,
with
thank
us.
you. Yeah, I mean, it has been a real amazing journey, and for myself too, because I have learned through the process. Uh, and when I discovered it, I was really in the energy healing
Mm-hmm.
arena, kind of. And what I do realize that there is a real healing component to connecting with your spirit guides
Yeah.
and your team to
Mm-hmm.
help clear out all that clutter
Mm-hmm.
out there, and help the other stuff, creating yourself as that sacred space, because that's what we are. And they want us to know that we're these sacred spaces with just magnificence and the potential,
I love
unlimited
it.
potential,
I
right?
love it.
And it's just really about owning that. And in the humanness, we tend to forget that, or
Yes.
be afraid of it, and that's not what they want us to be. They
Yes.
want us to be, right?
I love it. Thank you, Lewis, for elaborating with a good backstory and some details. So let me introduce Ruth too, and then we'll get rolling with what with some actual prompts for all of us to play with and for you to participate in. So let me share the screen also for Ruth onto the website so you guys can get a glimpse. So here was Ruth in the cruise. She was one of the leaders and did a Queen Mama Dance Leader Awakening Wednesday. And so Ruth is a professionally trained contemporary dancer and body-based leadership coach. She has a deep passion to help world-changing leaders and visionaries and soulpreneurs and mamas who want to bring their gifts to the world to really embody and awaken their full leadership powers in themselves and their business through soulful movement workshops, coaching, and dance. So, Ruth, I'm giving the words to you to compliment whatever you want to say to give a quick hello. Let me unpin. Here we go. Go ahead. There we go.
Uh, Thank you so much, Astrid. I'm a little weary. There's a lot of background noise here. Can
It's
you get?
okay. We can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. So I guess my chief passion is, well, in my own journey, just having discovered how the more I settle into and experience deeply my own form, this miraculous uh, entity that is like 3 trillion or 30 trillion living cells all working in harmony. And so the more I learn, and learn how to be with that, the wonder of this organism, that just, it's really supported me to open into greater states of wisdom. And so my passion is really about supporting humans to open into greater states of wisdom, and in particular leaders, because I feel that Those are humans who are called to make a difference, and and a great deal of the wisdom and power and resources that we need to do that can be found right here within our own skin. So yeah, we leave it there.
I love it, Ruth. Thank you so much for saying hello to everyone. And yes, I love the constellation that we have. Lewis is helping to connect from the outside into within. Ruth is helping through the body to connect within. And I am connecting. I feel I'm in the middle because I do all of it. Mine is very much with creativity. That's one of my big things. So I'm going to go through art, and I will give you access through that. So I will start with my first play prompt and action prompt to inspire you all, and then we will go to Ruth, and then we'll to Lewis as a second piece, and then to Ruth to embody it, and then there will be a walk away action prompt for you guys to actually make action with it. So because it's great to be inspired, but if we don't land it with an action step, like, it's gonna fizzle away, and the portal of wisdom will disappear, and then we'll get lost in whatever busyness we might have on our calendar anyway. So let's make it a thing and catch some magic and then land it on the planet. So here's my thing. I did a creativity piece before I hopped on the call here. This is my desk right here. See, like my crayons, all the things. And so here we go. Let me zone in a little bit. So I got inspired to play with some stencils today, and these stencils showed up as a play prompt for all of us. And so the first the pencil that you see here is actually, it says, pencil and a dream can take you anywhere. And that stencil is so awesome. That was gifted to me before I emigrated from Switzerland to the US. A friend of mine gave me that, and I was about to move over and just about to embark to study in New York, and so it really meant a lot to me that, oh my gosh, yes, I can create my dream life. So that's the first opening inspiration for everyone, that literally anything is possible, and once we say it, it's all for us to claim that it's possible, and that opens a portal to that possibility. So from that, my first inspiration and journaling prompt for everybody is to ask yourself, what is your desire in life and business right now? So tuning into that, and as you tune into that, I want you to go into the core where it really feels like that is your personal, true desire. Because sometimes we're quick to think like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta build a list of like 2,000 people, or I gotta have a YouTube channel of 10,000 people, whatever the heck, right? And that might be a voice of like what we've seen from others. It might have been a strategy from somebody else. It might be an inner voice that says like, oh, you've only made it if you have this, or whatever the heck. Those are all not true desire. So tune into what you really want right now. What do you want to experience? Do you want more, really get lit up by more dream clients, and make it specific for yourself too, because that will, the more clear we are, the more clear our actions will then show up to be, and we will be able to know when we reached that and we manifested it. So that's the first piece. And as you're watching the replay, you can of course pause this and tune in. I want to keep this fairly short for us for time's sake to really experience everybody. So I'm just going to jump right into, does any of you want to share what came up before I go to the next two pieces that I got here?
Sure. Actually, what came up for me was really when I went really deep inside is to create these huge um, spiritual art pieces, like
Nice.
big, because the biggest I've done is sort of 3 feet by 4 feet. She's on the wall there, and yeah, that's just like a desire of mine is to get a humongous canvas and just let spirit guide whatever is meant to go on that. And they do give me visions of it, so it's like piece by piece I'm seeing what wants to land on there. So that would be my desire.
So I'll scratch the wood, and that is your desire. Oh, awesome. I love it. How about you, Ruth? What came up for you?
Yeah, what came up for me was a group container, just like a community, really fostering a community, maybe in particular between women, and in particular in terms of, yeah, stepping into their power, their kind of feminine leadership power, and supporting each other in that. Yeah, so it could be new direction for me.
I'm very excited to hear that and to see that land. Oh my gosh. Um, cool. And so for me, I was actually speaking and not tuning in while you guys were journaling, but I just got this energy of excitement around finishing my current books that I'm writing. And then what I'm going towards is this. The second book, which is all about claiming your inner crown and your inner queen. It's called Stepping into Your Crown. And there will be a program developing for that and a game board of really how you can claim your inner queen and come from that place of strength, and not giving in to the shadows of our inner voices, but really rock your business and your desires and land them on the planet. So that is not super tangible, but it's the energy that I'm really drawn to of doing that more and like landing that. So that's my piece. So let me go to the next one here. Okay, number two, and this is super funny. So these two stencils came out, and as I looked into my stencil box, and I saw this one first, and when I was pressing it down, it was funny. I actually had it the wrong way, quote unquote. Nothing's ever a mistake, right? So it kind of looks like a frog foot to me. It was actually a crown, but I had it the wrong side, and so that has a message, of course. And here's the second. This stencil came through that kind of looks like a fairy tale to me. So it looks like a portal to a fairy tale. And I had done it twice, because the first time I did it, it was kind of faint. And I'm like, am I going to stencil over that? And then no. And I got inspired to do this. And so we get, it's a portal to step in. So here's what I see from this, and got inspired to as a next play prompt. It is leapfrog versus princess kissing the frog to be rescued. What character do you choose to play in your game? So if you think in terms of our life is kind of like a game, and if you think in terms of a fairy tale, which here we see this portal, and you see your whole life where you could, kind of like in the movie Jumanji or something, we can pick our avatar or superhero. If you think around those lines, and it's getting blurry. I don't know why, because we get to define our own details. I'm just going to do this and talk about it. So these are two examples, right, that came through, like the in the typical classical grim fairy tales, the whole kiss the frog thing. It's like the princess is not in her power, and she is also given her power away by having to kiss a frog, which she doesn't, which is kind of gross. So that's like almost like the inner prostitute archetype of like, I don't want to do that, but I have to, so that I can get my power. I'm like, okay. And then it's this prince that's supposed to rescue her, which is also giving a power away. It is like all these metaphors in there, which is really interesting. So, and then if we flip it, like the frog would also have superpowers, like because frogs can leap. Like if she's a frog, there's that view. If she's a queen, there's that view. So think for yourself. What what character do you choose to play in your game? So pick any character that comes to you. It can be even like a movie character, like some role in a movie. Um, yeah, somebody that pops up as you think about it. Um, that's the second play prompt. And then as you have that, you can then think about for yourself. Well, now you can sit with that for a little bit, and maybe as you take a shower or go for a walk or something, sit with it. Like, what drew you to that character? Like, what superpowers does that character have? And how as that character, how can you show up in your business doing things differently? Like, what would you be doing now that you were avoiding before? Or like how would you show, yeah, kind of play those scenarios a little bit. And that's a good journaling prompt to be aware of. And then of course we have all those superpowers already inside of us, right? So you get to awaken those, and simply by saying like, hey, I want to play that game. It can be as simple as that. So I'm excited to hear what came up. Yeah, let's like make the round and say like, yeah, you can unmute yourself as you go, Lewis, Ruth, and share away. Who came to you?
I had a few. I had sort of a series. The first one, I've been watching Peaky Blinders. I don't know if you guys have seen that show. I love that show, but it's pretty violent and gory. But the kind of lead, I mean, he's the guy, and he does a lot of violent bad things, but he's a really he's very, very strong in his decision making, and he is able to make some really tough choices uh, with a longer term in view. So I think that's sort of the superpower of him that jumped up. And then I also had, yeah, I had a few others out of that, like more feminine, sort of queenly characters come up. So that's me.
So always what comes up for me is Wonder Woman, and she's always my superpower. And actually, I never really thought about why, as to why she came up. Just that she always seemed to pop in, and I think part of it is that this whole idea of she can dress in whatever she wants, like, and nobody says, "Oh, that's inappropriate."
I love it. And that's so funny. Like,
Yeah,
of course,
you
you're
can
psychic.
wear that. And I guess I relate it back to when I was a young girl. My mom was a seamstress, and of course I have 5 sisters. So she sewed all our clothes
Hmm.
back then.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to wear the same thing that everybody else wore. So I learned to sew when I was 11 and was sewing my full wardrobe by that age, which is sort of led me to costuming and creating all my own stuff, because it just gave me, I never wanted to dress like anybody else, and I was kind of my own person even as a child, independent, and did my own thing. So yeah, so that's how I think that's probably, when I examine it, that's probably why, because she just sort of represents her own energy and attitude.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So, Louis, with your permission, I'm gonna give you some reflection on
Sure.
that. So what you just gave is your example. The why you think, like you said something like uh, you like her because she doesn't care what other people think about what, because she can wear anything. So now you get to claim that simply by saying like, well, what if I don't care and I'm going to do that too, right? And I love that it came up that you actually already, as a kid, already own that. And so it sounds like you might have like, somehow like something in you would like to have that back, so you get to play with that and what that might look like now. And those voices, you can, now that they're here, you can actually choose to get them out of your system and to
Yeah.
act through them and to let them go. So I'm going to go to the next play prompt and want to do my share, because also I want to sit with it. One is Pippi Longstocking, but that's not the whole palette, because Pippi Longstocking is a kid and I also and a pirate and a playful energy, but there's also a queen element that I am owning these days, and I haven't thought of which avatar I'm bringing in. So I'll go to the play prompt, the last play prompt before we go to Lewis, and that actually is dress up, which is funny because I said like, Lewis, oh, you're so psychic. Look at that. So now you get to dress up, and this is a play prompt for you, to really play with that. Well, what would that look like for you if you dress up as you in that role? And feel into that energy of owning these superpowers. And then you can share it in my group. Make a post if you want. My group is Brand Magic Landing on Facebook. So if you're not in there and you both are, then come there as you watch the replay, and you can share it there. And what that can look like, it's actually super fascinating what will happen. And because I went through that from the beginning of this year, several times, and it's kind of a brand magic exercise actually that helps you like try on different things and see like suspend a little bit of like, well, who am I, or like how do I see myself as, and like what really aligns and resonates with me right now as me, right? So it's not necessarily, I mean, you can play either way. You can play and say like, okay, I want to play like this queen superhero person and simply put on that role and see what it feels like. Or you can say like, what does it feel like if it's as me? And that's what happened for me earlier this year. I played with the concept of me kind of impersonating a queen, and I started wearing crowns in my coaching calls, and I actually got wigs and colors. I dyed my hair blonde, and I was like experimenting, like going all out and like, oh, okay, kind of witchy queen, what is that? It was like really going into different areas of like, that's more like a character, that's more like me. And what ended up happening is I started to finding my own way of being me with those superpowers in my kind of way. So it's like my own style. It's not simply Wonder Woman like as is, but it's like starting to find what that means to me. So it's a really cool playground. So have fun, you all, as you will play with it. I'm excited to, and be curious about the awareness that you're getting. That's really the biggest gift of all of this. There is no should. It's curiosity, and you will find gems for yourself. Oh, and there was one card that also that actually says that play prompt. It was like it's from my Queen card deck that I designed, and I'm gonna read this because it doesn't want to focus for some reason. It says, baby doll, Barbie doll, what's the gorgeousness of you? Make a style wish list and share it with the group. So yeah, you can also go and just do a style wish list on Pinterest or something and share that, or actually impersonate it. It's up to you. So those are my inspirations for all of you. So I'm passing it on to Lewis in about 10 minutes for Lewis, and then about 10 minutes for Ruth to share some of your magic. The stage is yours, Lewis.
All right. Well, thank you, Astrid. I actually don't have anything planned because I know that the guides all come through and say, hey, how about this? So actually what I did was I flipped over, they showed me a specific card deck that I have. And so, Ruth, I'd like you to pick between one to 6. Oh,
5.
5. Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay. So this is actually Archangel Michael, and it says, you can do it. Woohoo! So I love how appropriate they get. And I mean, that is really the part of the message is that with your angelic team, with your spirit guides cheering you on, you can do it. And you can do anything that you choose, right? In terms of your, taking your business forward, or looking at your soul path and what you want to do. And as you know, we've played with them before, and we played with them on the cruises, is the spirit guide card deck that I am developing, and the spirit guide journal. So now the challenge is, and perhaps Astrid, you could I'll have people just type in the chat, but Astrid, you could tell me what the numbers are.
Yes, perfect.
But here's the thing is, I'm going to challenge you to pick a number between 1 and 44, but know that the guides have something else in mind. So just pick a number. Yeah, that's what they say. Just pick the number, and they've already told me what I'm going to do with that. And then Astrid can just.
Yes. So we got the numbers, and thanks for playing, ladies, and welcome, Roxy and Jale. So excited to have you. So Ruth said 36. We already have that one. I got the number 32. Jale said 22. And Roxy, if you have a number, like, just put it in the chat. And 44. Okay. Gotcha. You got it?
Okay, so 36 now becomes 30, right? This is, so they're telling me how I'm going to switch it, right? So excuse me. So, and perhaps we have had some of these, we don't know. But this one is this is actually Chief Many Feathers on the River, and now his message is limitless equals freedom. So we are limitless in our possibilities. And we also have the crystal, yeah, okay. I want to see if I wrote on it. This is actually called blue kyanite, but blue kyanite is actually known as inner bridges. So the bridging from, say, the physical world to the etheric world, or to the spirit world, or to the upper planes, right? So good stone for connecting with your higher self, your higher teams. The other part of this crystal is that, interesting that Archangel Michael came up, because he is known as the angel or archangel that will assist in cutting etheric ties, helping you to release all the stuff that you don't need to carry anymore. You don't need to drag along anymore. And this stone, this kyanite, is actually part, is a great tool in healing, to actually run, over the body, to actually make that motion in that way. So going back to Chief Many Feathers on the River, and these cards, some of these are a little bit small, but do you see? I mean, he has all these feathers, and then when I drew him, there was these markings on his face, and I remember when I was drawing them, it was like he was telling me that people have these patterns. So they have these paths, and they may not show up here on our physical form, but we can choose the path. And there actually isn't a wrong path. So there aren't mistakes, there's just experiences. There isn't anything, there's nothing wrong. It is an experience, right? And so every single path, and it's kind of like the feathers too, the multiple feathers, is that everyone can represent a different period of time in your life, a different experience. Maybe it represents for you all the different people in your life, right? And so sometimes we don't wear that full headdress. Sometimes we just, take a single one. I love that the message was just very simple in that, that we are limitless. It's in the physical that we limit ourselves, right? And that's one of their, goals with working with people in the physical, is to assist them to understand that they are limitless. And the more that we acknowledge that, the more freedom we feel. Like if you think about that, if I said to you, well, there's no limits, so how does that make you feel? Whoa, you mean I don't have to have any, boxes around me, or boundaries, whatever. So those exist in our mind, and the question is, are they an illusion? Right? Do we make them real in our physicalness? So yeah, so that's great. Okay, so what was the next number?
The next number was actually we can skip mine and go with a guess. Jale had number 22, and then Roxy had 44.
Okay, so 22 becomes 16. You got to know how they work. I'm like, okay. Oh, I love this. Okay, so 16 is Paul the Venetian. He is a ascended master, and he's about surrendering the resistance. So here we have another message, right? It's funny how they're all kind of flowing together, right? But he's also a very, he's actually really comes through for people with writing, artistic, creativity projects. And the crystal that is associated with him, it's called celestite. This is a sample here. Now this is just a small piece that I have, but I'm just looking to see, I don't have it handy, but sometimes they come in the geodes where they're broken, and they're a medium blue, beautiful, beautiful crystal. I happened to work with this last week a lot in meditation because I was guided to, and it is one of the stones for really that super connection to the, as above, all those etheric planes, and helping to clear any of the messages that sort of prevent that really going high in terms of meditation and traveling. When I say travel, in my meditations, to meet my guides, or to meet and when I ask them to show me answers to my questions or give me instruction. And so this celestite is called a wind stone, which is the element that is here, the third eye and the crown chakra in the crystal teachings. So this is really about that resistance comes from fear, and fear of giving away your personal power. So true surrender is to know what your soul really is. And that's where the spirit guides will come in and assist you to really help you not just claim your power, but be your power, right? And power doesn't have to mean, oh, like I'm strong, I'm whatever. You can be in power by being, which is celestite, is like celestite, the crystal, by being this beautiful soul that knows what you want. You take it out to the world. You help people in whatever way, shape, or form. So that's, owning your own power is just really owning your gifts and what you can do with them. So that's Paul the Venetian. All right, next. Jolly was, what did she say? Oh, that was Jolly's.
Yes, that was Jolly. And I wonder,
Yeah.
Jolly, do you want to share real quick what's coming up for you? Like, how does that resonate? I would love to hear.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Can you hear me okay? I'm outside. It's sunny
Yes.
and I just needed some fresh air.
Yeah, that's awesome. We hear you well.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you, Lois and Astrid, for creating this call. And yeah, I guess I'm still processing what feels is landing. When you said going higher, or expanding beyond resistance, or what's any it almost felt like busting through the resistance, like, and just actually seeing what's on the other side of the veil.
Yes.
That feels very good to me. That feels really good in actually in any area of life, in my professional work and with personal, in every way. I think it's so one of my favorite things is to look on the other side of the veil when it's not there anymore. So so I appreciate you sharing that message and that how it landed and how it spoke through you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. And for
That's
everybody,
awesome.
anybody watching the replay, Jolly is actually a leadership coach as well. So we have powerful people on the call. Amazing.
Thank you.
So for Roxy, her number was 44.
44. Okay, so we're going to go to 38.
Right? Yes. Okay. It's turning into a different number too, Roxy. I don't know what's happening. The guides are twisting the numbers.
Well, I would share a little bit before I do this one is when I teach intuitive art and I have kids that are age 7 to 13, and they were all so excited about this project, and then I said so what's your favorite color? And they all happily shared their favorite color, and I said, okay, so you can't pick that color. And they all looked at me and went, but that's my favorite color. Yes, and this is the challenge. This is your task. Your task is to pick a color that is not your favorite color, to check the energy and how does that make you feel, and then we'll share about that later. And so it was really, they all went around the table and you could tell they were like, well, there's the red, but that's my favorite color. Okay, I'll do this. And it was so fascinating because at the end of it, when they shared, it was like oh my gosh, I think I really like yellow. And oh, this really made me feel happy. And, so that was what they showed me just before the instructions on, okay, you're not going to take the numbers, you're going to go six behind or 6 ahead, right?
I love it. And
so,
Louis, what's funny, it's what we talked about at the beginning of the call, is like choosing a different avatar and trying on different roles and superpowers for ourselves to empower ourselves. So I love that you're playing with the same paradigm. So the number was 38, is that what you said for
38, and
okay.
His name is Nigel. I think you might have, some of you might have seen him before, but he is one of my most favorite guides that I brought through. And it is a he. He felt very feminine when I remember drawing him, but it was his energy, because he's actually a young chief, South African, Aboriginal, and his message is about create from consciousness. I mean, I just love that message because, you know, what is our consciousness? You know, our truth, right? So when we go into our truth and examine our, he says, when you examine your true heart longings, that it kind of leads you to the soul path or your soul contract or whatever you want to do. And remember that we don't just have one thing that is in our soul contract. We can have multiple things that we have agreed to bring forward in that, on that soul level. And the crystal that comes with them is malachite. Now this is a raw piece, which is kind of but we work with, it's interesting that malachite is, it has a lot of copper content in it, and we work with it as a crystal resonance therapy person. I work a lot around the heart chakra with malachite because it does a wonderful energetic cleanse of that heart space. And a lot of people get, when we do the chakra sets, you know, that is one of the recommended stones to place on the heart chakra. And you can, you know, when you start to look at the crystals and read about the crystals, I mean, I select crystals intuitively, and then I'll go in and say, okay, why did I choose that? Or why did the guides choose that? Because it's not me choosing it, it's the guides having, you know, select those. But Nigel is, I mean, he is absolutely, I remember him coming through saying, yes, people would call me a pretty boy. And I kind of laughed when, you know, I was chuckling to myself because he's, of course, talking to me in my mind as I'm drawing him for the client. And he says, but don't let that fool you, because I have powers like you wouldn't believe. And that's why he came through for this particular person, because I do recall that she was extremely going through a period in her life where she was extremely unsure of herself. She didn't feel that she was, you know, successful in her vision. And I just remember him talking to her about, you know, here's the thing is, he said, you know, that whole attitude of fake it till you make it, you know, put on your best face, put on your pretty face, and then stand in your own power and your abilities and what you can do and bring forward, and know that you have a whole tribe behind you, because he's a chief, right? And he has this huge following. He you know, gave me a vision of his village and what it used to look like and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, he was pretty amazing. Yeah. So yeah, create from consciousness.
I love it. Oh my gosh, so much magic. Roxy, do you want to share quickly what's coming up for you? How does it resonate?
Yeah, that chief, Nigel. Thank you, chief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I am going through. You know, I have been connecting with people that can see what I cannot see in myself, and I sometimes I don't have the answers, and somehow I just know that it's going to be okay because everything is a process. So in my mind, which is it can be all tangled, you know, because my circuits can quite sometimes they cannot wire in the same way than other people. So I just have to be patient and find my own system.
Nice.
And you know, just go from there. The heart is there. I have always been a harder heart. That's how you say it, harder type of people. I am a star seed, so I came here to make a difference in the world. I found a way. How can I do that? By empowering families and moms and
Nice.
and just helping them financially, which is only just one side, but it's an important one, unfortunately, because with that we can have options. Yeah, I am 42 years young. I feel like I am 20. I don't look my age. I love to dance. So that came after I started taking some beautiful mushrooms that I sell, and they are legal, ladies. They are. And, you know, I mean, most of the people that I deal with on my business are very successful. Like, but some of them took 10 years, you know, 10 years just to grow in the inside, so it will reflect that. And I don't believe in accidents. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity right now. Thank you, Astrid.
Yeah, thank you for showing up.
Yes. And thank you, Luis.
You're very welcome,
Yeah.
and I just love that, and thank you for sharing that. And you know, the one thing that they say is yes, you know, we're not all on the same path, and we're not all on the same timeline. So cut yourself some slack, right? They always tell me, okay, patience. You know,
Yes.
backing up, and interesting that you know, patience was one of the cards that flipped out. You know, prior to the call, and I went, oh yeah, here we go again, patience, right?
That was for me.
I'm going, okay, that must be for all of us, right? Yeah, and you know that it isn't on, it's your timeline. And you know, when I do the spirit coaching for people, that's exactly what I tell them. You know, usually in the first call is, remember, I'm bringing through the information and what you're going to do and how you're going to develop and blah blah blah. But I channel all that, but then you take that, and now that's your journey. So you get to choose, do I want to go full speed? Well, I can, or I'm not prepared to, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But it's your own pace.
I love it.
Perfect. It's all perfect.
I love it.
So, yeah,
Thank
so
you
thank
so
you, Roxy.
much. Thank you, Louis. And I know we also have Ruth. Like, are you still available for a few more minutes, Ruth, to share some of your magic?
Yeah, I thought I'd just do a short little integration thing. So I feel like
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So,
like 3 to 5 minutes to keep rolling. 5 minutes.
yeah, so don't feel like cutting yourself short, all in alignment, right? Yeah, Roxy and Jala, you haven't heard the introduction at the beginning. Ruth is actually also a leadership coach, and she works with dance and embodiment. So it's a nice alignment, Roxy, that you showed up and said you love to dance. Yes, so yes, on to you, Ruth, to share your magic and awaken our leadership, magic, inner powers, whatever you want to do. Go ahead.
Beautiful. Okay, so I mostly just want to give us an opportunity to integrate and feel inside some of the insights that I'm sure have landed. I know I've had several. So I'm going to invite you. You can stay sitting or stand up. Okay, so feel into does your body want to be expansive? Are you feeling more still and restful? So you go with whatever you feel like. I am going to stand up. So I just try to position this so that I am also seen. Okay, great. So let's just start by putting hands somewhere on your torso. Okay, so either on heart or belly or wherever feels right for you. Just let them land wherever feels good. And they can move. So if you land somewhere and that ends up not feeling good anymore, just let them shift. Okay. Good. And just let your mind reflect over some of what you've heard in the last 30 minutes or so. And see if there's a message or a word or a color or a quality that jumps out at you as kind of key. What's a key takeaway from this experience? So for me, it's that limitless that landed, but it might be something totally different for you. Okay. Great. So then whatever that word or quality is, let's just start to kind of gently sway the body. And you can do it sitting as well, just letting your weight shift gently side to side, letting your spine roll a little bit, spine sway. And you can do it very small. Good. And just repeat the word or bring to mind that image that landed for you as most potent and powerful. Just repeat that inside as you sway. Great. And then let's just imagine that quality or that word really infusing inside your skin. And it might grow from inside, it might kind of permeate from outside. That's up to you. Let it come in the way it comes. You might get a visual, you might just get a feeling tone. Good. For me, I start to kind of imagine or feel an environment. Like I'm there with Chief Many Feathers on the river, kind of at night under stars, but yours is going to be your own. Good. Just see if you can deepen in that quality and just let your body soften. Feel a sense of softening, like the space between your cells is increasing. Just letting that quality increase and permeate. Great. Okay, and then letting your body come into a final shape that represents that quality for you. It can be big and expansive, or it can be very small and subtle. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular, but just letting your shape and just let your body tell you, let the body navigate you into what that shape is. You might need to keep it moving till it really feels right. Just stay curious. There isn't really a right or wrong. Just let that feeling land fully and let your body own it fully. Great. And then in that shape, just breathe into that shape. Feel feet anchored. Feel earth and ground firm underneath you. Feel strength at belly or aliveness at belly. Good. And just let that quality permeate and land in your cells. Great. And a big breath into this. Good, and then exhale, just letting that go. Great, just letting that go. Okay, beautiful. That's it. So just a way of kind of landing or encoding or bringing in a little bit that feeling or word or quality a little bit more deeply for yourself. Great. That's it from me.
Thank you so much, Ruth.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful. Thank you. I got something from the beginning of the call. For me, it was the leaping, the frog leaping, and the heart. Yeah, really powerful. So, for the sake of time, I know we're already over the hour, but I want to do a quick closing circle round so that everybody can say like one sentence or two sentences or a word as we go around. So I'm going to mute everybody and you can simply speak as inspired. Actually, unmute yourself because I don't find the button for everybody. Go ahead.
I can start. I mean, I kind of already said it, but that's it for me. That limited.
Mine is freedom.
Nice. Jelly, you're already unmuted. You're still processing.
Oh,
So good.
yeah. Something about like the feeling of going beyond what you know.
Nice.
Like go beyond what is familiar, and that's just as much at home as what I know to be true now.
I love that so much. I love that Roxy has creativity going and family. It's awesome. Ruth, I didn't catch yours. What was yours?
No, am I off?
You're on, Roxy, and you can speak if you want. What's your closing takeaway?
To the divine, to the, wait a minute. To the infinite, I connect. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
To the divine, I belong with the infinite, I connect.
I like it. Beautiful. And Ruth, what did you have?
Mine was limitless.
Oh, yes, beautiful.
Like
Awesome.
rooted and grounded, but
Wow. I so much expansion. I love it. Thank you everybody so much for having come to the call. I have one last small play prompt for all of us to take it forward, which is a card that came to me also from my Queen card deck, to land your magic and find your next easy action step. It says, pray to the universe, spirit, your higher power, listen to guidance, and what are you asked to do right now? So I'm going to leave that for all of you to take with you and to share that action step in my group, Brand Magic Landing. So come and use that space to land it and then go do it and roll with the magic and land your magic. Awesome. Thank you all so much. More is to come. We'll see you in the group and on my newsletter. And thank you so much, Ruth and Louis, for
Thank
showing
you,
up and
Astrid.
teaching. And both of you in Europe. Yay. Okay.
Thank you so
See you again.
much. Much love to you all.
Mwah.
Great.
Much love. Bye-bye.